welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amber and I'm the owner and creator behind Being on Bliss. Today I just wanted to walk you through how I make my leggings. I make leggings on a day-to-day basis for my small shop, and I do my leggings with organic cotton knit, which I purchased through Spoonflower. All of my clothing is the same material, and again, it's purchased through Spoonflower. So I wanted to just show you guys a quick and easy tutorial on how I make my leggings. So let's get started. The first thing that you guys are going to need to do is find a pattern. You can upload on Etsy, you can find patterns on Pinterest, or you can even Google them. A lot of people that do tutorials, even on YouTube, have links to patterns that you can use. I do make my own patterns, and unfortunately I don't sell them, so you can find any legging tutorial or pattern, any of those sites that I had listed. But this is the pattern that I had made for myself, and you're going to need a front and a back body piece of the legging, and you're going to need two different cuffs. This is what I call cuffs, and you're going to want to cut them on the stretch, so make sure you're cutting them on the stretch. You're also going to need an elastic band. This is how I make my leggings. You can do yoga waistbands. There are different kind of waistbands you can do, but if you want to follow along with the way I do mine, I do use an elastic waistband. So the first thing I'm going to do before I even start sewing or serging these leggings together is I'm going to go over to my standard sewing machine, and I am going to just overlap my waistband about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch and do 2 different zigzag stitches to attach the ends together. I use a zigzag stitch so that if they stretch it, it's going to stretch and not tear. If you use a straight stitch, you might get the problem of it tearing apart. So you want to use a zigzag stitch. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do that really quickly. Okay, so that is done, and this is what it should look like. Just a circle waistband now. Now the next thing that I do is you don't have to do this step right now. Sometimes I don't do it in the beginning, but because we are doing this together on video, I'm going to do this right now. But you're going to want to do 4 different pins or clips, whatever you prefer. I like clips. And you're going to section it into 4 different sections. So you're going to quarter it basically. And I start on my back piece, which is the piece that I did the zigzag stitch on, and I go straight down and pin it right there. Then I put those 2 pins together, and then I clip these 2 sides. That way I have 4 equal parts on this waistband. I'm going to set that aside. And now the next thing that I like to do when I make my leggings is my cuffs. So I am going to serge my cuffs first, and you can do it the way I do it, or you can do it the way that your pattern explains to do it, but I basically fold it over on the stretch long ways, and then I fold it up. So I fold it over, and then I fold it up. Fold it over, take the bottom corner and fold it up so that all the raw edges meet along this one side, and then you have a fold on the bottom. And then I'm going to turn to my serger. Turn this bad boy on, and I'm going to serge along those edges. And you have your cuffs. You can either fold them out at this point, or you can wait till the end. I like to do it all at one time. That way I know my cuffs are sewed, they're ready to go, they're flipped out, and they're nice. They're already all straight and put together really nicely. You want to make sure your cuff is facing the right way, because if you put it onto the pants upside down, it's not going to look good. It's going to be upside down. So basically with your raw edges facing up towards the ceiling, your fold along the bottom facing the ground, you want your print to be looking the right way when you look at it with the raw edges up towards the ceiling. Kind of hard to explain. Once you get it, you get it. Put your pin or clip on the seam right here on the outside, and then I just take another one and I even it out on the bottom so it looks like that. And repeat the same thing to the other cuff. So when I've folded it out, my rainbows are facing upside down. I want them to be facing right side up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip this, and then I'm going to flip it right side out. Because again, my raw edges are facing up. I want my print to also be facing up, which is the right and correct way. So now I'm going to flip my cuff if it's upside down, and now my rainbows are facing the correct way, if you can see that. And you just do the same thing with your clips. Clip it on the middle, pull it down, clip it on the middle, and that's how they should look. So now you have 2 cuffs, 1 waistband, and now we need to sew these together. So you're going to take your front piece and your back piece, and you are going to put right sides together. And when I say right sides, if those of you who don't know what that terminology means, it is your pretty side or your print side, which is called the right side. This is the wrong side. There's no pattern on it. Every print, every fabric looks different, but on the material that I get, it's always white on the back. So I always know that that is my wrong side. And the print with all the pretty designs on it is the right side. So you're going to put those together and facing each other, and then you're going to line up all your straight edges, and you're going to then serge down one side. Do not serge your bottom leg part, which is the cuff area, but you are then going to serge the crotch area. Do not serge the leg area again, but then you are going to serge up here. So the only actually three parts that you do not want to serge are your waistband and your 2 legs. Leave those out and you're golden. So I'm going to serge those right now. I'm not going to use my cutter. I'm turning it off. You can use your cutter if you want. Again, I make my own patterns, and so I did not put seam allowances in on my pattern, so I'm not cutting these. So I sewed 1 leg piece on the side. Now I'm going to go and serge the crotch area. I'm leaving the leg where the cuff goes out. I do not want to sew that. Take your time. The curves are sometimes difficult if you're new at serging, so just take your time. And then now I've serged one edge, I've serged my crotch area, and now I need to serge down the other leg side. And this is what your pants should look like so far. Now what I like to do is attach my cuffs and my waistband. That way it's all put together, and then I can just bring it over to my serger and just serge it all at one time. So right now I'm going to take one of my cuffs, and I always take my pointer finger and put it inside underneath this serged edge right here, or seam, whatever you may want to call it. So my pointer finger is always lined up with that. And then I always line my seam up with my crotch seam. That's how I know I like it that way. But you can put it on the outside if you prefer that. There's no right or wrong way to do that, in my opinion. And you just line your serged edges up with your clip. That's how you know it's going to be centered. Again, I'm finding my seam, putting my finger, my pointer finger underneath of it, opening up my cuff or my leg piece, placing my cuff inside the pant leg, lining up my serged edge with the serged edge on the cuff, and clipping it. One thing to note that I haven't mentioned is I always face my seam the same way on both sides. That way if you laid it flat, it would lay flat and there would not be any twisting and turning. So whichever way you lay it on one side, make sure you lay it that way on the other side. Okay, my cuffs are now attached. And now I'm going to do my waistband. You're going to grab your elastic waistband, and the pants or leggings, whatever you want to call them, are facing, this is the back, this is the front. I can tell because there's a little tiny lip up on the top. The back is always a little bit bigger than the front. And I know that I want where my zigzags are, I want that to be the very back because I want my tag to go back there. Now you can do this however you want. You can put it on the side, you can put it in the front, you can put it wherever you want. That's just my personal preference, so whatever you want to do is totally fine. And I know exactly where my center, if you don't know where your center is, you can always fold your pants in half, mark your center point. You can measure it, mark a center point. However you want to mark your center point, totally fine. The way that I do it is I just take the center of my crotch seam and I just visually go up, and I know that that's my center. It might not be exactly perfect. That's just how I've always done it, and it works for me. I also know because the back of this kind of goes up into a point, and I know that that's my center. So I always line my center of my back up with the center of my front up. So I know I can visually see this point back here, so I'm going to attach the front first. That way I can see where the middle is on the front. Now, when you do an elastic waistband, you want to attach the elastic on the outside of the pants, not the inside. So now I'm going to grab my back, and I see this point right here. I am going to line the point up with the middle of my clip, and then I'm going to clip it on the outside of the pants. Now I'm going to twist it, and my side seams are going to now line up with this clip. That's why you put them in quarters. And again, you want on the elastic on the outside of your pants, and then you're going to clip it. But make sure, like I said before, that if you lay this or pull this flat, your seam is going to lay flat. You don't want your clip up here to be twisted this way, and then it's going to be twisted. You want it to be exactly the same way, all the way down nice and flat. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to line your seam up with your clip in the back, and then you're going to clip those together. Now you know you have your front and your back, your waist is all aligned now. I have my cuffs and my waistband on. So now we're going to sew or serge the cuffs onto the leggings and the waistband onto the leggings as well. I like to start with my cuffs. You can start however you want. I do use my cutter on this, but I don't really cut off a lot. I do as minimal as possible. But I barely cut off just a very tiny bit. Only to make where the seams meet up nice and flat and very smooth. And then I cut off this big long string. And And then when I get to that string and it gets cut off, I kind of move my cuff over a tiny bit so that nothing gets cut off and it's even all the way around. Kind of a little trick that you have to teach yourself, but when you do it over and over again, it will work out. So when I take this and tuck this back in here, you're not going to be able to see that. And then you can see all of that is lined up nicely. So then I have this large eye needle that I use, and I tuck my strings in. You don't have to do this. This is just something that I have always done. If you've watched my videos and my lives, you know that I love tucking all of my strings in, or tails, whatever you want to call them. I just feel like it secures it better and there's no chance of it to come off. And it just looks nicer. On to the next. Same thing. So with the waistband, I always start where the back is. And again, you can start wherever you want. If you want to start on the side seam, that is totally fine. I turn my cutter off. I don't want my cutter on this point. And I kind of go in at an angle. So I'm going to go in this way and then I'm going to straighten it as it goes in. See how I angled my straighten? And you basically just pull your elastic not too tight, but you pull it as you go. But I keep one hand in the back, pulling it that way, and one hand in the front, pulling it towards me. That way it's all nice and even. And I always use my thumb to pull back the top fabric so I can see where my elastic is. I want those two even with each other. And take your time, just go slow. I'm always stopping and readjusting. Pull it tight, not too tight, but enough to where it looks good. Nice and straight. At this point, I take my scissors and I just cut the tail of this off. That way it's not in the way because I'm not using my cutter, so it's not going to cut it off. So now, I'm coming up to the end. I just overlap it 1/2 inch or to 3/4 of an inch, and then again, I tuck my tail in. So now I have to go over to my regular machine that does a zigzag, and I'm going to zigzag my waistband onto my pants. Okay, so this is the machine that I'm going to be using. It is the Reliable 2300 SZ. This is an industrial sewing machine that offers a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch option. I chose this because, again, I love the zigzag waistbands on my leggings, so I really wanted to have that option. So this is the machine we're going to be using for my waistbands. First thing I do when I get over to this machine, this is where I put all my waistbands, all my tags, top stitching, any of that sort I do on this machine. So first thing I'm going to do is grab what size these are, 0 to 3 months. I grab that tag, and these are girl leggings. I have girl tags and boy tags, or gender neutral. These are my girl ones. They're pink. So I am going to put my tags on really quick. This is the first thing I do. Gently place it underneath. Take my other tag. And now my tags are inserted. This is the way that I've always done it. It's worked for me. I know there's probably other ways to do it, but this way is easy for me. So this is how I've made a routine of doing it. So now that my tags are on, what I do next is I clip down my side seams. And now I flip my pants right side out. You pull it tight. I line my presser foot up with my serged edge right here. Now the next step is to switch over my machine to a zigzag stitch. It's just the twist of a knob and a pull of a lever. Now I'm all set, and I'm going to start zigzagging. Don't forget to backstitch. And that's all you do. I'm cutting off my strings. So the final and last step is to press these. So I have them on my heat press. Those of you who know me know I do not use an iron, I use a heat press. I just like the look of it. It's easy, it's professional, and that is my own opinion on how to press items. You can use an iron if you prefer that over a heat press, whatever you have around, but you do want to press your seams for your final product before you send it out. And I just flip it over and do the other side. But now these are the finished product, and look at how nice and clean and professional they look with the zigzag stitch, a serged and elastic waistband, pressed finished product. This is how I send my leggings out. I fold them up here on the heat press so they are nice and clean. Nothing's going to get them dirty. And I just fold them up like this, and then I will then put them in a plastic bag, a clear plastic bag to protect them, and then into its packaging bag or bubble mailer, whatever I decide to put it in that day. Because sometimes if they order more than one product, I will put them in a box or a different kind of mailer. So this particular item is solo, so I'm going to be putting it in a clear plastic bag and then into a bubble mailer and sending it off. Thank you guys so much for watching this short tutorial on how to make these sweet leggings. Such a fast project for you to do if you have a baby shower to go to, if you have a new grandbaby, or even a new baby of your own. This project is so easy. It's literally a 15-minute sew out, start to finish. So cute. Every baby needs a pair of leggings. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it, like, comment below with any suggestions on any other videos you'd like to see. I have a list of different videos I want to give to you guys and show you how I do different things. So anyways, I thank you guys so much for watching this video, and until next time, bye guys.